and the person, sorry, is Professor Chintaka Balasurya, and let me introduce Dr. Chintaka Balasurya, who is the Director of Medical Education Development at the School of Population Health, UNSW Australia. And he has a background in medicine and a PhD in medical education. He leads a range of research projects in medical education and also supervises doctoral projects that aim to solve real-world problems in medical education. His research has led to the design of a range of educational instruments to develop collaborative skills, that is team skills, in learning and in clinical practice-based learning. Chintaka is an internationally recognized expert in medical education. His expertise has been recognized by a range of awards that include the UNSW Medicine Teaching Excellence Award, the UNSW Vice Chancellor's Award for Teaching Excellence, and an Australian Learning and Teaching Council citation. He was the president of the Australian and New Zealand Association of Health Professional Educators, which is called ANZAFE, from 2018 to 2020. Chintaka leads educational collaborations with a number of international universities and makes significant contributions to staff development and the promotion of educational scholarship in Sri Lanka. He is an honorary visiting professor at the University of Peradeniya. So it's my pleasure to introduce Chintaka, who is also a very close friend of ours. And now let me introduce Professor Asela Olupeliyawa. I think he's no stranger to Ministry of Health, but let me introduce him in the usual way. So Professor Asela Olupeliyawa has over 15 years of experience in curriculum and assessment development in medical education. He graduated from the Faculty of Medicine, Colombo in 2005 and joined MEDAC as a lecturer in 2008. That is the Medical Education Center in the Faculty of Medicine, Colombo. He completed his PhD at the University of New South Wales, Australia in 2012. His PhD thesis is on how workplace-based assessment among medical students supports the learning of teamwork competencies for internship. He has over 20 peer-reviewed publications and over 50 international presentations, including first author original research publications in high-impact medical education journals such as Academic Medicine, Medical Education, and Medical Teacher. He has extensive experience in faculty development of medical teachers, postgraduate clinical educators, and teachers in other health professions. So the two resource persons, as you would see, are one of the best to conduct this session. And let me also tell that there would be 3 facilitators in this, group activities, and they are Dr. Umanga Suryarachi, who is a community physician and who is from the Education Training and Research Unit of the Ministry of Health, who has initiated this collaboration between College of Medical Education and the Ministry of Health. And the other facilitator would be Professor Deepthi Edusuriya, who is the head department of forensic medicine, and she has also many publications in medical education. And I would also be another resource person. And as I introduced, I'm the President College of Medical Education. So with that, let me go to the next slide. Yeah, so these are the workshop aims and the structure of the workshop. Very briefly, so I did the welcome and opening introductions. So there would be an overview, and this is the overview, and rest of the sessions would go on like this. And Professor Chintaka will start with the, the theoretical basis of what we are doing today. So over to you, Chintaka.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that kind introduction, and good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to meet you virtually today. So as Kosala said, my name is Chintaka Balasurya. I'm based in Australia at the moment at the School of Population Health, University of New South Wales, or UNSW. Sydney, as we are now known. I'm a Sri Lankan. I'm a proud product of the Colombo Medical School, and I'm really pleased to be an honorary visiting professor at the University of Peradeniya. So it's wonderful to be with you today. So we're going to talk today about the expanding role of health professional educators. And in particular, we're going to talk about effective feedback in the clinical workplace. So we're going to go into some detail about how we can do this, how we can do it even better, and how we can do it for the benefit of our students and our trainees. Before I get into the detail of the topic, though, I want to remind you that this is a workshop. So we are hoping that there will be a lot of interaction, and I'm looking to you to talk, to contribute, to share your ideas. With large groups, as you know, it's not easy to unmute and speak because we don't have luxury of time. But Varaman, we do have the chat function. So I'm going to invite you at many occasions to please use the chat function and share your thoughts. So I do hope you will share your thoughts. Again, I want to stress there are no right or wrong answers. Please, we're looking for ideas and thoughts, so feel free to contribute. With that spirit, so let me start with a diagram, a picture. Okay, so we're talking about feedback, but I'm going to present to you this as my opening slide. Can I invite you to share what thoughts come to your head when you see this picture? Why do you think I might have opened with this picture? Please use the chat function to tell me why you think I've done this. I hope there's lots of things happening in the chat. I'm going to give you a minute. Now, Kosala, unfortunately, I can't see the chat function because I'm sharing screen. What is coming through?
Yeah, I will read, but there's nothing at the moment.
Okay, so everybody out there, I can see we've got 70 people on the Zoom meeting.
There is one. Yeah, sorry, there is one statement, just stone we can mold as a, we can mold, just stone we can mold as a gem.
Okay.
Different is, yeah, that's lovely, right? Transition of black stone to a gem. One is a gem and beautiful. Many problems and challenge make final best product. Is there some more?
Excellent. I'm going to give another 10 seconds or so.
Yeah, better.
Please put down your thoughts.
Convert stone into gem. Same chemical carbon, but of different versions with varying value.
Wow, brilliant. I'm so impressed. Thank you, everybody, for contributing. Yeah, given we don't have the luxury of time, I'm going to move on, but thank you. Fantastic ideas. And you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what I was trying to depict through this. So, as clinical supervisors, you have a very, very important job. And that is to guide the journey of your students through this clinical journey, which transforms them from what I've depicted here as a relatively rough, uncut stone through a middle stage to that end product, which is a beautifully cut, polished diamond. So that transition from a junior student to a senior student to a polished graduate is something that you have the capacity and the capability to guide. And feedback plays such a vital role in guiding that process. So that's what I was trying to show through that diagram. So let's ask ourselves, what really do we mean by feedback? And I just to explain why I use that metaphor, the multifaceted diamond also represents the multiple facets of feedback that we can think about. But it's also a metaphor to show you that assessment has to be accompanied by feedback, and that can then help transition our students into polished professionals. So going back to this big topic, what is feedback? Now, once again, I'm going to invite you to use the chat function to please put in your thoughts. If you were asked to define feedback, what would you say? And I'm not looking for deep scientific definitions, just your thoughts about what it means. What do you think feedback means? Okay, so I'm watching the chat. Can I please invite everybody to jump on the chat and please type in even a few words? Good.
Reflection. Can you see,
Yeah.
Chintaka, or
Yeah.
should I read?
Now I can see.
Okay.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, some great thoughts coming through. I'm assuming everybody can see this, so I'm not going to read it out, but I'm inviting all the participants to please contribute, but also look at what others are saying. Excellent. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay, so please keep the thoughts flowing there, and I'm going to just move on in the interest of time. So, before I come to a definition of feedback, I want to speak about feedback in its traditional form, what it could be. It needs to be carefully considered, deliberate, and for it to be effective, we need for it to be delivered through formal means. And I'll get to the importance of that last point, especially in the light of what we are going to do during today's workshop, which is to try and develop an instrument to formalize that process of feedback. And this, I think, is, if I was to share one definition of feedback, and I do stress that it's only one definition, this, I think, captures many of the ideas that you've already shared through the chat function, which is that it's information communicated to the learner, and it's intended to modify his or her thinking or behavior for the purpose of improving learning. And I thought you had captured many of these aspects really well in the thoughts that you shared. So thank you for that. Okay, so what are the other dimensions of feedback that we need to be aware of? It's an ongoing process, and you know this, right? So it's not something that you give and then move on. For your students, for your trainees, it's an ongoing process. This is a really important point, that students often receive feedback in implicit or unintended ways as well. And you need to be really cautious of this, because as supervisors, our body language, our expressions, our tone, all convey feedback to students. And if we think back to our time as students, we would think, oh, my consultant looked annoyed, or he looked away, or he just waved me off. So even the body language, the gestures are forms of feedback that students would read. And it's really important that you make sure that they read you accurately, and that they don't read unintended meaning into, say, actions that were directed at something else. So again, things that we can return to if we have time during discussion. Third point, again, very, very important. We can give the feedback in a particular way, assuming that students are going to receive it in a certain way, but it's often modulated by the student and their emotional response. And we've got to be really conscious of that. So framing that feedback around clear statements and criteria is a critical aspect. The halo effect is a really important point as well. So if you start by saying you were really good at something, and then you go on to say, but you need to improve in another area, it's possible that the students may only hold on to the positive bit. So this thing called the halo effect, the positiveness that starts to radiate out of something good that you say can sometimes dilute the critical aspects that you're trying to convey to your students. So some aspects that you really need to be aware of around feedback. Feedback, when constructed in the context of assessment, takes on a really useful, valuable meaning, because we used to assess learning and it was assessment of learning. But with effective feedback, we can turn it into assessment for learning. And that is how we need to see assessment. So assessment accompanied by feedback can be assessment for learning, so that we mold our students through the assessment tasks that we give them and the feedback that we provide to them. Now, I'm going to start wrapping up these initial thoughts by considering just a few further ideas. So, what is the value of assessment without feedback? I really want you to think about that question. If we had assessment without feedback, what value would that be to our students? But if we give feedback without some sort of assessment, what's missing there and what would be the impact on our students? So the point I'm trying to convey here is that feedback and assessment have to be carefully constructed and paired up in a meaningful way. And again, I'll link that to the workshop activities that we've got planned for today, which is to develop an instrument which links these two aspects together. So hopefully that we will come to that, and you'll start to understand what I meant by that when you listen to what Asela is going to share with you in the next part of the presentation. I'm going to not spend too much time on this, but I'm going to pose this as a question to you before I hand over to Asela. And I'd like you to really think of a time when you received effective feedback and think about why that feedback was effective. I was going to invite you to once again use the chat function, and I might actually do that, but I'm now going to quickly finish up with my initial component and hand over to Asela. So please, everybody, please feel free to put your thoughts down in the chat function, but I'm going to pause here and I'll probably return to these aspects of feedback because I am rather conscious of time, and I'm conscious that we need to hand over to Asela. Thank you, everybody. So I'm going to pause there. Asela, handing over to you.
Thank you, Chintaka.
Yeah, just there are a few minutes anyway for you, Chintaka. Right. Thank you.
Right. I'm sorry. I thought I must be going over time. That's okay. We can come back to those ideas now later. Asela, all yours.
Okay, thanks, Chintaka. So I think building on what Chintaka mentioned, I think there were some very valuable thoughts that you provided on the chat about what feedback should look like. And particularly when it comes to the workplace, the clinical learning environment, those aspects of feedback can be challenging. So we need to think of a structured way, a systematic way in which we can facilitate this feedback process. And I will be talking about a particular workplace-based assessment, of course, introducing you to this concept of workplace-based assessments first. And then based on that, we will talk about a particular area related, very important for trainees in all the health professions, nursing, medical, other allied health professions. That is how to work in a healthcare team. So my presentation and the discussion and the rest of the activities today will be based on this particular focus, teamwork, or what we call teamwork or collaboration or working within healthcare teams. And we'll talk about how we can provide feedback to trainees based on this very important aspect. So just to get you to think of why teamwork is important for trainees in health profession. What do you think? Again, maybe if I can have some of your views on the chat on why do you think teamwork is important for trainees, for your trainees? It could be the undergraduates or the postgraduates. Why do you think teamwork is important? I just opened the chat. Anything that may go right, may be done better with teamwork? Okay, yes, holistic care, definitely. Sharing the knowledge, sharing the decisions. Well, exactly, we are working in a setting with different health professionals, so they have different perspectives, they have different knowledge, they have different skill set. So we need to bring everything together in order to provide holistic care. I think that's the key thing. So let me share with you some research evidence on the positive aspects of teamwork. And it's well proven in different specialities, particularly where multidisciplinary teamwork is involved, that it is better for the patients, but it is also better for the healthcare workers, as you can see here. Better satisfaction, less dropouts, and changing workplaces, reduction in the actual clinical workload, and very important in today's context, particularly with the pandemic situation, where I think all the healthcare workers are under a lot of stress. Good teamwork leads to reduced burnout. But the other side of the coin is also very important, what bad teamwork can lead to. And this is where patient safety angle comes into being. And there was this really nice study done about more than a decade ago, where they looked at the medical malpractices claims in US, and they found out that poor teamwork results in about 70% of the errors. So it is not about the lack of knowledge or lack of skills or competence, but it's more about teamwork and communication between the healthcare team members that has led, and for breakdowns in those have led to over 70% of the errors in healthcare. And what this study also shows is that this kind of errors are more common. Teamwork errors, errors due to teamwork are more common, particularly among trainees. So we need to focus on our trainees. And I think that is what we all want, all who are here today want. So what we need to identify is, if we are to promote teamwork, develop teamwork, we need to actually explore what this concept is. Now, even from a feedback point of view, as Chintaka mentioned earlier, feedback needs to be quite specific. Otherwise, there can be a halo effect. If we just say, okay, you are a good team player, what does that mean to the student? It means it's not very specific, and certain things, like, for example, they may be quite good in have a very good rapport and a very good interpersonal relationships with the other team members. But if they are not giving priority to the patient's care and communicating the important aspects of the patient to you as the head of the unit, then there is something wrong. But if you just provide feedback saying you're a good team player, there will be that halo effect. So recipients' perceptions will be clouded. So that is why we need to provide very specific feedback related to teamwork. And this, I will not go into the details of some of the research that Chintaka and myself have done, Chintaka being my supervisor during my PhD. But I'll just, the reference is given down, but I'll just show you what we identified as what is important in teamwork for junior doctors. So there are certain behaviors related to communicating safely and ensuring patient safety in the team communications. There are certain behaviors related to taking responsibility for your actions and knowing when you are out of, when you recognize your limitations and know when you need to ask for support, ask for help. Then there are, of course, many behaviors related to how you work your interpersonal skills, and as you very correctly mentioned in the chat about respecting each other's perspectives, because we are of different professions with multiple skills and backgrounds. So these three areas are very important in teamwork when it comes to junior doctors. Now, why I call this specifically for junior doctors, because this research was done asking about these, exploring these behaviors with the supervisors of interns in both Sri Lanka and Australia. But we believe, and some of the studies that we have done subsequently suggest that many of these behaviors are very important even for all health professions trainees, be it junior nurses or junior or trainees in other health professions. Particularly if you look at the diamond metaphor, at that middle stage, the senior student stage, where they are just about to transition into practice, these behaviors will become very important. So today we will be doing some activities around how do you prioritize these behaviors for your own profession. Then let's get back to the workplace-based assessments. I believe some of you would have heard about this concept called workplace-based assessment. What workplace-based assessments are? Assessments where the supervisor or any other senior member of the healthcare team observes a trainee doing a particular clinical task and provides feedback based on a structured format. So a rating is given and feedback is given based on a structured format. Now, why is this important? For one thing, for feedback to be specific and for feedback to be structured without the unintended effects, performance of a trainee needs to be observed. So that's why it needs to be observed either in a very specific task or throughout longitudinally over the time that that person spends in that ward or that clerkship. So there are some examples, many examples of what we call these encounter specific observations of clinical work samples. Many of you would have heard about this assessment called the mini-sex. Now, what that test is, the trainee is asked to do a task related to interviewing a patient, history taking of a patient, or examining a patient, or then the communication aspects as well as the knowledge and the clinical skills, physical examination skills are looked at. Then there is another one called DOPS, where the technical skills, but not only that, but other areas of professionalism such as taking informed consent is looked at. There is one called case-based discussions or CBDs, where you discuss a case and things like clinical reasoning and documentation of that case and the management plan is looked at. So all these are very specific observations of clinical work samples. but you can also have longitudinal observation of members of the healthcare by members of multiple members, called multi-source feedback. Now, multi-source feedback is useful particularly for aspects like teamwork and professionalism, which research, these other encounter specific assessments find it a little difficult to measure. And what we have found is that is because we haven't still unearthed or clarified what it means to be a team player in specific situations. So the earlier behaviors that I showed leads to a very effective workplace-based assessment, because if we can target those specific behaviors, prioritize the behaviors and target them in a workplace-based assessment, such as similar to this mini CX form, then we can probably measure teamwork and provide feedback on team, find out what are the tasks where teams are involved and what are the behaviors that are necessary in those tasks. And I showed you some of those behaviors, and I will show you now this workplace-based assessment form. So as you can see, I mean, again, I don't expect you to read this, but these are some prioritized behaviors on teamwork and the tasks such as handing over a patient, calling for a consult, discussing a discharge plan that junior doctors are involved in, and of course, multidisciplinary team meetings. So what happens is that just like any other workplace-based assessments, such as the mini-CX, in this assessment, trainees are observed doing this particular task and rated on their performance according to their level of training. So this was piloted among senior students who were just about to become interns. So we wanted to see how their performance was compared to an intern. So that is what the rating scale is. And then, of course, they are given feedback. Now, when it comes to feedback also, there are certain aspects or key dimensions of feedback or key functions of feedback. The first function is actually for feedback to be effective, both the assessor or the person who is giving feedback as well as the trainee or the recipient of the feedback should know what are the goals, what should be my targets, and therefore they can even prepare in advance, thinking about, okay, when I'm doing this activity, this is the focus, these are the things that I need to see whether I can do them well or not. So where am I going? The feed up. Then, of course, there has to be that dialogue between the person who is giving and person who is receiving the feedback. It can't be a one-way conversation. That is a key aspect of feedback. So for that dialogue to happen, there needs to be a discussion on the strengths and weaknesses, as well as kind of a rating on the level of performance. And that is the feedback, the so-called feedback process of the feedback. And then, of course, you have the feed forward. That is, where to next? What should I do next in order to improve these areas? So an action plan has to be made in discussion with the person who is giving feedback, with your supervisor most probably, about what are the things that I need to do with specific time points, specific activities on how to improve. So these are the aspects of feedback, the structure which is provided by, if you take the mini-CX, DOPS, CBDs, any of these forms will have this structure. The only thing that will change will be the actual sampling, what should be the task, and then what are the behaviors that need to be observed. So this structure that is very similar to any other workplace-based assessment form. So now, again, if I can have in the chat, where do you think in this form, where can you see these feed up processes? Where can the trainee and the assessor find information on what are the goals? If you look at these forms, which sections of the form will support the feed up process? I'm sorry, the form is not that large, but if you look at it, they have the situations, the ratings are there, the items to be rated are there, and there are 3 boxes at the bottom about strengths, weaknesses, and agreed action for improvement. So which part do you think is more supportive of the feed up process? In the interest of time, I'll just show this to you. So you can see that the rating scale and the items that were identified as important teamwork behaviors, that is important for the feed up, because both the assessor and the trainee needs to understand, okay, this is what we have to be looking out for when we are saying we are talking about teamwork and the level of training. And then feedback. Feedback is of course based on the ratings of the trainers, and also about the you know, the areas for improvement, and the strengths and the weaknesses clearly specified in the dialogue between the supervisor and the trainee. And then of course the feed forward is the action plan that is made in discussion. So really, if you can see that without this feed up, without the assessor and the trainee being clear of what are the expectations and what is the level that they will be judged on those expectations, without that, it is very difficult to continue with the rest of the feedback functions. So that is why it's very important that we identify what are these important aspects, for example, in this situation related to teamwork in healthcare. So that leads us to the activity, because as you know, 16 behaviors were identified through literature, and with clinical supervisors mainly medical trainees. But certain research in China, in other countries, have found that even among nursing trainees and other allied health trainees like paramedic staff, these behaviors are also very important. So, but we need to identify what is important in our context, our organizational culture, our workplace culture. How can a trainee be an effective team player? So that's what we can do, particularly you know, for junior nurses. But I know that there are quite a few participants, medical as well as allied health. So we can look at these three areas, you know, the 3 categories, nursing, allied health, and medical, and look at identifying what would fit a Sri Lankan version of the teamwork mini clinical evaluation exercise. And we will use a research method known as the nominal group. I will not tell you details about what that technique is, but I'll just, as we go along, you will identify how we are going to prioritize these behaviors. Okay, so before we start this work, I would like to mention to you that this is also part of a research study where ethical approval has been obtained, and it is I think more than it is an evidence-based method to produce workplace-based assessment related to feedback on teamwork, which is so important if you know the Sri Lankan context and the interprofessional conflicts and all these issues that we find. I think it is really important that our trainees are given specific feedback on teamwork. So this will help all of us to develop a very specific assessment tool which can be used in the schools of nursing, schools of allied health, among medical students in Sri Lanka. So that's why this research would be of usefulness to all of us. So remember, this is just to prioritize the teamwork behaviors and also to learn, understand what this teamwork is all about while doing that. No information, no personal information is being sought, and your participation is completely voluntary and anonymous. You will see that when you have to do the ratings, the rankings, there is no collection of personal information, and your data will be completely anonymous. So with that, can I just invite you, if you have not done this already, to click on the link that has been provided in the chat box by the coordinators. I think right at the very beginning. Yes, maybe Rizka, if you can share the link for the consent as well again, that would be really good. So again, there is no coercion. We do not know who has or have not actually consented, but if you have not consented, really you do not need to do the ratings. But you can, of course, participate in the discussions, and we welcome your contributions. But if you would like to actually get involved in developing this form, developing this assessment tool for feedback, and do the ratings, I invite you to click on this link or copy this link and to your browser, and provide your consent to this particular activity. Chintaka.
Okay, thank you, Asela. I think as the moderator, yeah. So yeah, once that's done, we'll give a few minutes and start the next session.
Yes. So the link has been shared in the chat box as well. So you can just click on that and you can go to the consent form.
Asela, if you could also please share that following slide so that we introduce the breakout activity.
Yeah. So I think Chintak can also brief, but I'll just start the briefing on the breakout rooms. So we will be going into breakout rooms. You will be randomly assigned, and we have 15 minutes to discuss this, understand this complex phenomenon around teamwork. And over to you, Chintaka, on any further instructions.
Thank you. So thank you, Asela. That was a really useful presentation, and you captured all of the key points very well. Thank you for that. So everybody, now we are going to get into the discussion part of the workshop. So we're going to break out into 4 groups. It's going to be a random allocation. So this is not a discipline-based discussion, so it will be a random allocation. The main purpose of this exercise is for us to get to know and become familiar with the 16 behaviors in the TMAX instrument that we are going to start working with. The point is that we want you to become familiar with those behaviors, and once you're familiar, we'll be going through a series of activities where we talk about how important they are or they are not for your specific disciplines. So I'm going to now ask Rizka and Chamika to please put us into the 4 rooms. And we will spend 15 minutes trying to get to know these 16 behaviors. Rizka, Chamika, will you please allocate us? And the purpose of that activity was to become familiar with the 16 behaviors so that we can try to identify which of those behaviors we might put into an instrument that might be useful for our own specific context. And when I say our own, I mean your own, because I know that you come from several disciplines. So we want you to think about what will suit your discipline and your context, right? So we wanted you to understand what those 16 behaviors are, and we are then going to go into a ranking activity, which will help you to try and identify which items we will prioritize for including in the instrument. Does that make sense? If you want to ask any questions, please do. Is our aim clear? I'm wondering whether we have made it clear enough to you. Asela, do you think I should try and say that again?
Yeah, I know. I think that clear, Chintaka. I think in my group, of course, what we did was we just went through some of the behaviors based on a couple of real life examples that the participants had, and that made them help them understand some of those behaviors.
Yeah. In that case, if everybody is happy, shall we go into the ranking activity? I'm conscious that we are 15 minutes behind time. So we are going to start. Yes,
if I may disturb you, I'm sorry, my group went astray because they could not see the list, although it was there in the chat. The moment you open the Google thing, nothing comes on screen, right? And I was also not prepared with something with me, and I had to search and get. So I don't think there was a good discussion in my group, but I kind of tried to give the idea to them. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's okay. Hopefully okay. Can I then just explain the big task once again? Asela, can you, are you able to share the 16 behavior document?
Yes, hold on.
Do you have it? Or if you stop, I can.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing.
Okay, I'll try and share it. Is that open? Can everybody see this? So what we did was we talked about these 16 behaviors. So this is for the benefit of those who missed seeing this list. So we went through these 16 behaviors. What you see is that the 16 behaviors are in 3 categories called team relationship behaviors, self-awareness and responsibility behaviors, and safe communication behaviors. These are what we have identified through a previous research project as what supervisors want from their trainees. So what supervisors expect to see in their students, their senior students.
In medical students.
Yeah. So these were originally for medical students, but what we want to now do is to see which of them are relevant to nursing, to other allied health professions, so that we can extract the 6 behaviors that are most relevant to your context and then develop an instrument like the TMAX that you can use in your clinical practice. And our aim is to try and get 2 of the top behaviors out of each of these 3 categories. So 2 out of the 3 categories so that we end up with 6 behaviors. What we are going to ask you to do is to do this in 2 steps. The first step is where we'll all individually rank these behaviors by importance. To say, we think these behaviors are the most important behaviors within these categories. Then we come back as a group, we talk about what those results are. We listen to others' points of views. Then we go back and we rank again. And in that second ranking, what we are trying to do is to identify the top 2 from these 3 categories and come to a consensus on the 6 behaviors that we'll end up with. So we are now at step 1, where we are going to ask you to open up a Google Doc, a Google form, and put in your views on the ranking of these items. Is that clear? Is the task clear? Asela, do we have, if you could go to the next slide.
Yeah, so if I can add, what you need to, now there are 3 categories. So you have to rank within that category. Ranking කරන්න ඇතුලේ දැන් areas 3ක් තියෙනවා: safe communication, responsibility and self-awareness, supportive team relationships. Supportive team relationships has 7 behaviors. Self-awareness responsibility has 5 behaviors, and safe communication has 4 behaviors. So what you need to do when you go into that Google form is, if there are 7, within that 7, you have to select what is the most important in your profession. That is number 1. You have to click on the, I will show you the button, number 1. So like this, you will come to a form like this, right? So this is one section of that form. Now these are the safe communication behaviors. So you can see the 4 behaviors. Now if you think now, for example, if you think that expressing concern and urgency in communicating patient care, that is the most important, you put number 1 for that. Then if you think, okay, checking back decisions is the next most important, you click on number 2 for that. Likewise, you click on 4 numbers, but you should, within one section, you should not click on the same number. Now the Google form allows you to do that. So we are asking you be very careful, don't do that. You can't say one, you can't say both are as important. I know sometimes you might feel like that, but you have to, we are forcing you to prioritize, right?
Yeah. So what Asela is saying is, you can't have more than one ranked as 1. එකේවා එකයි තියෙන්න පුළුවන්, දෙකේවා දෙකයි, තුනේවා තුනයි, හතරේවා හතරයි. So it's one of each. So don't give 1 to more than one behavior. So give 1 only to the one that you think is most important, 2 to the second most important, and so on. Okay?
මේ section එක ඇතුලේ විතරයි. මේම sections 3ක් තියෙනවා. අනිත් section එකේ 7ක් තියෙනවා, අනිත් section එකේ 5ක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට ඒක ඇතුලේ 1 2 3 4 5 කියලා importance එක අනුව rank කරන්න, prioritize කරන්න, 7 ඇතුලේත් එහෙම කරන්න.
What we'll do, Asela, is we'll ask everybody to go to their phones, and then we'll demonstrate on screen as well. Okay. Now, can everybody see what I have put in the chat? So there are 3 links here for nursing, for medical, and for allied health. So please select the group that you belong to best. So if you're from nursing, click on that first link. If you're medical, click on the second link. Other allied health, please click the 3rd link. Okay.
So allied health, public health nurse, public health inspectors, public health midwives, all those categories, you can click on the allied health link.
Is that clear? Can everybody click on that, please? Tell me if you have a problem. So I'm going to also click on the nursing one. Let's see what happens. Shall I share my screen, Asela, so that others can see what, and then talk people through?
Yes, Chintaka, then maybe you can demonstrate without submitting the form.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Can everybody see my screen? So don't follow what I have done here, but can you see that you can rank it any way you want, right? So if you think this is very important, you will give it a rank 1. If you think it's not very important, you might give it a lower ranking, okay? And so on. So you can give any ranking to anything you want, but don't do this, because I have given 3 to 2. I shouldn't do that, so I should change that, right? So make sure you pick your top one, your next best one, and so on, right? I hope that's clear. Is that clear? Hamotama ega pahadilida. Within each category, we are trying to get a ranking. And then after you finish that, so you finish, and then you go, you make sure that you've finished ranking, then go to the next one, right? So basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm doing this randomly. Please don't follow what I'm doing, but you might choose to go like this. Please give it some thought and rank as you think. And then you go to the third section. I hope that's clear. So I will stop sharing and I'll let you do this.
And finally, if once you are sure of your rankings, if you are happy with it, you can click the submit button.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. If you are not, like, if you want to make any corrections, you can do the clear form, but I think within, you can just check, change anything before you click the submit button. You can just change your ranking if you want.
If you want to change, all you have to do is click on a different button and it changes, right? So if you think this is 2, but now you got 2 2s, you want to change this, you can always change it, right? Okay. So everybody, please, we are slightly tight for time. So can you please, in the next 5 minutes, try to submit?
Yeah.
Okay, we will be silent. We'll let you do your work. So we are going to be silent, but please, anybody can ask a question in the chat or just unmute and ask. Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
Great.
මම පොඩ්ඩක් ආයෙ කතා කරන්නම් කාට හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවද දැන් අර රෑන්කින් එකේ ෆෝම් එකට යන්න ඒ ලින්ක් එකෙන් ඒ ෆෝම් එකට යන්න පුළුවන් වුණා කියලා හිතනවා. මොන හරි කිසිම ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා නම් කියන්න ඒකේ රෑන්ක් කරන විදිහ ගැන හරි ඒක ලින්ක් එකට යන්න බැරි නම් හරි මම කන්සෙන්ට් ලින්ක් එකක් දැම්මා මේ රිසර්ච් එකේ පාටිසිපේට් කරන්න කන්සෙන්ට් දෙන්න ලින්ක් එකක්.
Hello, sir.
ඔව්
I am Malika. I am unable to go to that link because I am connected with the phone. I didn't see that link.
If you go to the chat function, do you know how to go to the chat function in Zoom?
Is
Or
it
if you
in-
can email, if you can put your email address to the Health Informatics Society of Sri Lanka, the host, you select that and put your email, type your email, we can send the link to you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay, so Asela, I'm conscious of time.
Yeah, some are finding it difficult to get the link. They can't see the chat. I think when you access through the phone, it's difficult to see the chat on Zoom.
I understand.
Yes. Yeah, let me also interrupt, Chintaka. I think there are some technical issues here. So yeah, they do have some issues because finding the link and responding, because the device they are using is not that, is not that great.
Understood. I can see that 40 people, okay, now more than 40 people have managed to submit. So we have some good responses. I think the way to do it is, given that we only have half an hour left, I think people should continue doing what they're doing. So please continue. If you are still filling it in, please continue. Kosala, Asela, Deepthi, shall we start sharing the results? What do you think? Or can we wait a few more minutes?
Yeah, I think it's better, Chintika, to wait a few. I know we are behind time, but yeah, I don't think that we can. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem.
Maybe we'll wait another 3 minutes until we.
Yeah, we'll wait 3 minutes until it is 5:35 my time. What time is it there, Asela?
12:05. Now it's 12:02. By
Okay.
12:05. Yeah.
We'll wait till 12:05. Asela, if
How
I
is the response now?
yeah, I've got a response count. If I tell you which ones are showing up, can you identify which ones they relate to? So with the first category, the highest rank is number 1.
Yeah, hold on. I shall also go to a link, Chintaka, just to double check.
It's number 1 and 2. And then
So first category, number 1 and 2. Right.
Second also 1 and 2. Third also 1 and 2.
The team in the clinical interactions writing.
Interesting.
Just an idea, Chintaka.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering whether the same thing, now we have the email addresses of these participants. Can we do it again, giving them some time? Or you want it upfront like this? Because I feel they are so close to each other. Even I had a problem in deciding, in prioritizing, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we
to
can.
me,
Yes,
it was
but
not
actually,
easy.
I
It
mean,
has to be
we want,
done so
yeah,
quickly.
I mean,
Is that the,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
mm,
right. Okay, thank
I
you.
think what we can do is, Kosala, we can finish this activity as we planned it today. And then we
Yes.
can have another follow-up activity, which will follow a slightly different protocol, and we can then email it out.
Yeah, I think so. What does Umanga think? I think that's, yeah, today we'll get, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, I
feel
think we
that
will
they will
finish
need
this,
time
yeah.
to get used to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this is a good, I think, sensitization like that for them. And we can start a good one with a proper way, because now with their they are now negotiating with their own time and like that. No, this is the first time they are getting exposed to this concept, at
Yeah.
least to some extent, actively participating. And since now they are been having some sort of an exposure, I think that we can go for it in a more organized manner and clearly to develop something for them to use even in the future. Isn't it?
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
you
Yeah,
can get the leadership, I think.
sure.
So
Okay.
we make it task.
Excellent. Yeah, I think we can do both of those things. So let's finish the activity as we planned it. Emma, yeah. So maybe then can everybody come back? We have over 50 responses, so you've done really well. I think we are almost at 60 responses, which is very good, isn't it? Out of 79 participants. So I think we've done fairly well. Can everybody see? So I'm only sharing the nursing because that's where we've got the most number of responses.
Yeah, I can see. I can see the screen and hear you.
Okay, so in the first category, the first behavior, which is communicates needs and requests expressed by patient, has got the most number of number 1 rankings. So that's a very clear winner there. The second one that's coming up is number 2, which is respects team members' perspectives on the clinical situation. So those two behaviors seem to be coming up really strongly. If we ask people to talk about why they rated these, do you think we'll get much? Can we invite people to put that into the chat? So everybody, if you can hear me, what we are saying is we seem to have identified 2 top-ranked behaviors. Does anybody want to talk about why they ranked these in that way?
Chintaka, and anybody can speak in Sinhala and any language, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry, but we might not understand if in Tamil, but Sinhala English, you know.
Yeah. So අපි දැන් number 1 rank එකයි number 2 rank එකයි දැන් fairly clear මේ data බලුවාම කාට හරි පුළුවන් ද unmute කරලා කියන්න ඇයි මේක ඒ විදිහට rank කරේ කියලා.
Yes, excuse me.
Yes.
I think because it's, the communication of the patient condition is the important thing in healthcare management in order to get the proper clinical reasoning and also plan the treatment ahead. So this is the important thing. If you miscommunicate the information, then ultimately the patient's treatment plan also going to be in a wrong way. So I think it's the most important thing. So that's, I believe that's a majority of the they have concern about the number one, as well as we need to consider about the patient's goal. So it's the important aspect rather than imagining the things. We need to get as much as detail from the patients to get a clear picture about the patient condition. So the same way we need to communicate these things to the next level. So I think that's why most of us consider it as very important.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so that's very helpful. Thank you for sharing that. Then
Chintaka,
let's do,
yeah, now you are going for self-awareness, no?
Yeah.
Can I comment my own things as being thinking I'm a participant here?
of course.
Yeah, in the team relationship, I thought of 7 after the 1. 7 is important because in our context and in our culture, we do not express ourselves to the others. And since this is we are targeting for the students and the training program, because even in the normal social life, the way of our culture is such we do not express ourselves, appreciation, even appreciation. So that I thought that this particular thing, moving for 7, then it is, I mean, individual I'm thinking, and the other things automatically will happen.
Yeah.
එහෙම එකක් මට හිතුණා.
Okay. Okay.
කතා කියන එකෙන්, right, okay, this is for the
Thank
thing.
you. So Umanga, yeah, so I think the data reflects what you're saying. So accepting accountability for completion of tasks and recognizing own responsibilities and limitations are the 2 top ranked ones in self-awareness. Yeah, so again, 2 clear winners here. I said that the data is fairly clear, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. So recognizing limitations and is number 1, and accepting responsibility and accountability for tasks is 2 again. I'm not so maybe if there is any volunteer who would like to say why you thought those 2 were important. So yes, again, I think even in other categories, that seems to be the similar trend.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So then we can go to the last one, Asela.
Yeah.
Again, the first 2 behaviors are ranking high. And that would be, I'm trying to see what the first 2 are. So communicates evolving changes and expresses concern and urgency. So communicates evolving changes. Yeah. So these 2 seem to be highest ranked in the 3rd category.
Yeah. So Chintaka, I think there is quite clear what the choices are. Of course, we now the whole idea of a nominal group is that we shouldn't make choices simply on 1 ranking. That's why we need to go to the next step. So if there is anyone in this who thought differently, now there were 2 behaviors, the first 2 behaviors in each of the sections. Actually the first one and the third one in the first section, and then the am I correct? Yes, and the others first 2 in the second and the third section seems to be what you think are very important. Anyone who thought differently, now in a nominal group, it is very important to identify ones who might think differently and discuss why that is the reason. There may be a variable lesson there.
Yeah, completely agree. So if anybody has other views, can you share those, please? If you think something else should have been ranked high. It's okay to disagree. That's okay. So if anybody has other ideas, please feel free to share.
ඇත්තටම මම හිතනවා මේ self awareness එකේ number 12, that is the last one, adapts to different roles according to the demands of the situation. That මට හිතනවා ඒක අර self awareness කියන එක ඇතුලේ ලොකු responsibility එකක් කියලා, especially in our context.
Number 12 adapts to different
Can
roles.
we, can we look at that rank, that section, Chintaka, just to
Okay, give me a sec.
clarify that?
Different role, adapts to different roles according to the demands of the situation.
Yeah, what the ranking that has received, maybe in the junior nurses or the junior doctors.
13, 12 in the
For the responsibility behavior.
12 has received the lowest ranking. Interesting.
Yeah, might be. But it's a adaptation, different roles and adapt.
Yeah. So, Dr. Manga, can I share with you what we found in our research? What we found was when the intern supervisors were talking, it is because now there is a limited role to adapt to when it comes to a junior person. Yes, you need to adapt to, but you can't take on the consultant's role, no. Sometimes,
but
so
you
that
might
is
be
the
laborer even. You might be a laborer, you might be a nursing officer.
Yes, exactly. So you can adapt to that is what is important. So so that situational leadership at your level. So I think that is the but and this is mainly in emergencies that this happens. So so maybe that is why that was not ranked.
Okay.
Yeah.
So limited setting only that it can be applied. Sure. Okay.
Thank you, Manga. I think that was really useful to get another perspective. And I think, as Asela pointed out, the whole purpose here is to get different perspectives rather than just go for the one single agreement. So thank you very much for sharing that. Now,
කියන එකත් සාමාන්‍ය අපි ඇනලිසිස් කරනකොට එකක් හිතනවානේ.
good point.
First two being
ඒක තමයි අපි දැන් අර ඊළඟ ඇක්ටිවිටි එකේදී ඒක ක්ලියර්ලි කියනොත් දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ තෝරපු ඒවා දැන් ආය හොඳට හිතන්න දැන් ඊළඟ ඇක්ටිවිටි එකේදී අපි කරන්නේ පළවෙනි දෙක තෝරනවා. දැන් මේ වලදී ක්ලියර්ලි 1යි 2යි පේනවා. හැබැයි සෙටින් එක හින්දාම කියලා කියන්න බෑ. team relationship behaviors වලදී 1යි 3යි තමයි තෝරලා තියෙන්නේ. 1යි 2යි නෙවෙයි. So it may not be just the setting.
Yes.
So you can you can think about it, be wary of that. පොඩ්ඩක් එක ගැන කල්පනාවෙන් ඉන්න. පළවෙනි දෙකටම ක්ලික් කරන්න එපා. හැබැයි හොඳට හිතලා බලලා පළවෙනි දෙක වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඔයාලට හිතන එක තමයි හරි එක.
Oh, so Asela, then Asela කියපු එක මම ආයෙත් කියන්නම්. So thank you Asela. So that's a really good point. Then Asela QA, then මේ first ranking එකෙන් අපි හිතන්න පටන් ගත්තා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි දැන් ඒක ගැන කතා කරා. So දැන් අපිට අවබෝධයක් තියෙනවා මොනවද අපි highly ranked කියලා හිතන්නේ කියලා. දැන් මේ second round එකේදී අපි දැන් මේක final round එක තමයි second round එක. එතකොට අපිට first round එකේ data සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම අයින් කරලා දාන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක පැත්තකට දාලා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට අලුතෙන්ම හිතන්න පුළුවන් දැන් මගේ instrument එකට මට කොයි behaviors හයද ඕනේ කියලා. හරි? So that's the question here. What are the 6 behaviors I want in the instrument that I will use? එහෙම හිතන්න. දැන් ඔය තමන්ට වැදගත් වෙන ඉන්ස්ට්‍රුමන්ට් එකක් මේක. එහෙනම් කොයි 6ද මම තෝරන්නේ? ඒ 6 තෝරන්නේ කොහොමද? හැම කැටගරි එකේම most important 2 items. ඔයාට වැදගත් කියලා හිතන බොහොම most important behaviors දෙක තෝරන්න first category එකෙන්, second category එකෙන්, third category එකෙන්. හරි? ඒතර ranking එකක් නෙවෙයි දැන් අපි කරන්නේ selection එකක්. එතකොට දෙකයි තෝරන්න ඕනේ. මේකෙන් දැන් Google form එකේ ඔයගලන්ට දෙකකට වඩා තෝරන්න ඉඩ දෙනවා. නමුත් කරුණාකරලා දෙකක් විතරක් තෝරන්න. because අපිට ඕනේ අන්තිම 6ක් තෝරන්න විතරයි. So please can you now start on the second round ranking. දැන් මම දාලා තියෙන්නේ links ටික chat එකට. Can you see that? Can everybody see that? Once again, please click on the link that is relevant to you. So nursing, click on the first one, medical second, other allied health, third link. We only have a total of 11 minutes left. So please, if you can finish in about 6-7 minutes, that would be great. Everybody okay? If you have any difficulty, please ask or use the chat.
මං හිතන්නේ ආය මේ දැන් මේ දෙවෙනි ෆෝම් එකේ සිලෙක්ෂන් එකක් විතරයි කරන්න තියෙන්නේ. දැන් රෑන්ක් කරන්න නෑ. හැම සෙක්ෂන් එකේම most important behaviors දෙක සිලෙක්ට් කරන්න. දෙකකට වඩා සිලෙක්ට් කරන්න බෑ මං හිතන්නේ. චින්තක is that am I correct?
නෑ පුළුවන්.
පුළුවන්. Right. So please select only 2. දෙකකට වඩා select කරන්න එපා. එක section එකකදී sections 3ක් තියෙනවනේ. දෙක ගානේ select කරන්න. එතකොට අන්තිමට 6ක් එන්න. ඇයි අපි 6ක් කියලා හිතන්නේ නැත්තම් අමාරුයි මේ specific feedback දෙන්න. ගොඩාක් behaviors තියෙන එකකින් observe කරන්න අමාරුයි ඒකයි.
Okay, so we have 39 responses for nursing. Now, people are still submitting. Good, good. We'll give a few more minutes. Okay, everybody, you're doing well. We'll give you about 2 more minutes. I can see responses are still coming in. Okay.
Yeah. Shall we? It's 12:29. Maybe in another minute we should.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Umanga, I think we probably need to finish on time. Maybe we might go 5 minutes over maximum.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we'll give everybody, if you can please submit in the next 1 minute, please. I can see we have over 50 responses. With the first round, we had about 65. So if we can get the last 10 or so in, that would be great.
Yeah, that's important because we can't use the data of if it's only for the first round, it will not be of much use. So please complete the second round as well if you have completed the first one.
Yeah. I think the last few people are submitting. Okay, so Asela, given that it's 6 o'clock, we'll allow people to continue to submit. But shall I share the findings? Yes. Okay, so the findings are looking very nice. Let me try and get rid of these so that you can see. Okay, so this is with the nursing group. There was a close fight between number 2 and number 3, and number 3 has won. So we have number 1 and number 3 as the winners for category 1, with number 2 coming in very close. Then for category 2, still the first 2 are clear winners. And for number 3, it's interesting, we still have these 2 as clear winners. Is still ranking fairly highly. So with nursing, I think we have 6 clear winners. So it's easy enough, but we can have a further discussion. I think, Umanga, we have maybe a follow-up to this, and we'll discuss with the group and come to a consensus on how we'll develop the instrument. I just want to take a minute to show you the results of the other 2 as well. Numbers are low, but the results are different. So it's interesting, there's only 1 clear winner here. There are 2 clear winners. This is for medicine, and 2 clear winners here. And for allied health, completely different.
Okay. Medicine, Chintaka, still it's very similar other than for the first category, I think.
Yeah. And the numbers are low. For allied health, we had 12 respondents, so that's still reasonable numbers. It's 1 and 4, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. But number 3 is ranking highly. And Umanga, I think what you mentioned about adapting is ranking higher for allied health than for the other professions. So many interesting features here. So everybody, we are going to have to wrap things up, unfortunately, because of time. But what we will do is we will come back to this and we will share the results with you. As I said, the aim of this exercise was to start to try and design an instrument that you can use in your own workplace. I think this was a really useful first step, but as many of you have pointed out, maybe it takes time for us to get familiar with the process and get to the next stage. Now, I think we started, so we can maybe go one further step before we finish and actually create the instrument, or we can create the instrument, pilot it, and then do modifications later. So we have options. What we'll do is this team will discuss the findings and we'll come up with some ideas and share them with you. And hopefully then we can take it to the next step, which is a usable instrument that you can take with you into your clinical supervision activities. So everybody,
Chintaka, I just wanted to add that.
Hope you found that useful. So as you can see, we started with, yeah, Sela?
No, I just wanted to add that, again, keeping aside the instrument, again, some of the key messages related to trying to give specific feedback to trainees. Whatever instrument you use, it is good to use a specific tool, but remember that it's the feedback process that is really important. And by using certain workplace-based assessment, I think we can, enhance that feedback process further.
Yeah, thanks, Asela. So to reiterate what we've done to this and to summarize, what we tried to do, as you might see, is we didn't try to tell you a lot about feedback. We gave you a little bit of a background, but we were trying to help you to understand what the features of good feedback are. And what we were trying to show you is that feedback, for it to be meaningful, it has to be timely, constructive, linked to specific criteria, meaningful to students, and provide some sort of structure through which they can reflect and act on that feedback. So what we've spent the last few minutes doing is developing those criteria that you can then take with you to link this feedback to. And once you have the criteria and the structure, you'll be able to really give some meaningful feedback to your students. So everybody, thank you very, very much. You've engaged wonderfully well with all of the activities. I hope you found it useful. We will be in touch. We'd love your feedback on how we did and how this workshop went. So we'll probably follow up with something. Umanga, can I invite you to say some final words before we close up?
Yeah, actually, I really grateful to our our council, the Medical Education Council, as well as you, Chintaka, as you have got so much of being done for us. And the other thing is, this is a real good exposure for our the teachers and the trainers, because this might be eye-opening for them. As Asel also said, one thing is to give the feedback. The other thing is using a tool for it. And in developing a tool, I think since that we are having different categories and you have shown it very well, the ways, the context that they are working is going to be different, and application of the selected variables also going to be different. So when we are developing, it is not going to be a one uniform tool for the each and every category. And so we have to do more in this particular aspect, since now this would be an initiation, and that is what we really expect from these exposures, for our trainers to think now laterally and more broadly and widely where we are and where we can go for to make the quality improve in our training program. So ultimately all this goes to the country and to the people in this country. So think positively, we can do a lot, and all of you can get together. And since we do have the leaders in educational science, medical education, these are there with us, and Professor Chintak also will be with us when we go forward in the same aspects. And thank you very much again, Professor Chintaka, for you being participating, and also Professor Kosala, because all of you have done so much of homework in getting prepared for this. And anyway, it has a very interactive way of doing it, and that also I think for our the colleagues here is going to be a good experience in doing it while we are not being there in person to person. Thank you very much. And so that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Manga. My thanks also to Asela, Diti, and Kosala for all your help here. And of course to Chamika and Rizka for all your help. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. So we'll let you go and we will be in touch soon. Take care, everybody.
Just a minute, Chintaka, just a minute.
Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Just a minute. Yeah. Now, I think the final vote of thanks is going to be from the conference chairperson, Dr. Sisira Dharmaratna. Again, we went a little bit behind time, but couldn't help it. So I'm really thankful to, just on behalf of the college, let me just very unofficially thank Professor Chintaka Balasurya and Professor Asela Olupeliava and the facilitators who were there. Although I did not do much of a facilitation job, but I really enjoyed. So I would like to look at it as an awareness session. But we did learn a lot, I think. So let it be the, initiation of another project that will go over a period of time. Thank you. With that, may I hand over to Sisira. Thank you. Is Sisira there? Sorry, Rizka.
Hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear.
Thank you, madam. I won't take much of your time, but I am here because I would be failing in my duty if I do not acknowledge the contribution by many for a successful series of pre-conference webinars and workshops held specifically for the instructors in the Ministry of Health as a part of the Colombo Conference 2021. So today's workshop, I see there has been lots of interaction, lots of positive vibes seen in the chat. So thank you very much, Professor Chintaka Balasurya and Professor Asela Olupeliava for organizing this wonderful session on implementing effective feedback in the workplace with particular focus on development of teamwork. And also the facilitators, Professor Kosala Marambe, Professor Deepti Surya and Dr. Umanga Surya Raji. Thank you very much. So we heard that there has been lots of work gone behind in the preparation of this particular workshop. So we really appreciate your time and effort in bringing this up together. So that's all about the today's session. And so as I said, there has been a series of pre-conference webinars, particularly targeting Ministry of Health And so I should thank Dr. Manga Suryarachi, the Consultants Committee Physician attached to the Education, Training and Research Unit of the Ministry of Health, for kindly inviting us and giving us this opportunity to collaborate with the Ministry of Health. And she has been spearheading our collaboration between the College of Medical Educationists and the Ministry of Health for long number of years now. So as part of that, so thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to contribute towards the development of the training programs spearheaded by the Ministry of Health. So we had 4 in the series of this pre-conference webinars. So let me just in a few seconds remind all the resource persons: Dr. Joaquim Pereira, Professor Indika Karunatilaka, Dr. Pandula Siribaddana, Professor Gominda Ponnamperuma, Dr. Dujeep Samarasekara, along with the resource persons of today's workshop. So we on behalf of the organizing committee of the Colombo Conference 2021, I would like to thank them immensely for their time and effort in organizing and conducting these sessions on behalf of the college. And also the team behind this, Rizka, the secretary of the conference committee, was the live wire behind all these things. And also Chamika and his team for all the IT support headed by Dr. Pandula. And of course, Professor Kosala as the president of the college, who gave us guidance towards this. So we thank all of them. And if I have missed somebody, it is inadvertent. So with that apology, let me wind up this and thank you very much, and look forward to see all of you in the Colombo Conference main conference and pre-conference series, which will be starting in early November. So the program is prepared and it has been circulated. Of course, for the Ministry of Health, the registration links will be shared through the ETNR unit. Dr. Kumanga Suryarachi will circulate the registration link. So we look forward to seeing you virtually again at the pre-conference workshops of the main conference, as well as the main program of the conference. And thanks once again for today's team, and have a nice day for the Sri Lankan participants, and have a nice evening. Professor Chintaka Balasuri from Australia.
Thank you. Thank you.